pizza will get people to like you, unless they're vegan, so you'd have to get a vegan pizza. How to get people to like you in just a few seconds, because that's all it takes. Make sure you hit that like button if you want to learn a little bit more. The concept is not very new, but it's how you go about doing it that actually makes it impactful, because I've seen it done it wrong in so many different ways. Especially men, listen up. If any of the men watching this have ever taken or watched any videos on like how to like get the girl, right? How to flirt with the girl. And they use this a lot, but they use it in the wrong way. So if you find that you go to a club and it doesn't work, this is the reason why. All right, so it's called matching and mirroring. And this is something that I used to do as a practice in acting class, but essentially it's building rapport with another person by mirroring what they're doing. So we're essentially talking about 6 different things when it comes to matching and mirroring, and that's tone of voice, pitch, volume of voice, the words and the breath, and of course the body language. So if you're paying attention to those 6 things, you should notice that 5 of the 6 has to do with this area, right? Your voice, what you say, the tonality, the words, the volume, right? The breath. I've had this happen so many times where it was very, very obvious that somebody was trying to match and mirror me with the body, and it came across very unnatural because number 1, it was disingenuous, but number 2, it was done wrong because 5 of the 6 has to do with this part, okay? Not the body language. So then let's talk about the first thing, the tone of voice. And usually the tone of voice initially is a front-facing presentation tone. When I meet somebody, I'm not super excited, even though I'm a super excited person. I usually just say, hi, my name is Tina Leader, da 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 da. It's very much so a neutral tone of voice. But when I build rapport with somebody and I love them and I am fully me, I'm a lot more excited. I get very animated, but I don't show that when I first meet somebody. So a lot of the times when we meet somebody, we kind of put our neutral foot forward because we're really trying to gauge where the other person is at. It has to do with the environment in which you're in, the social environment. So a business conference where everybody's acting professional, that neutral tonality is going to look very different from a neutral tonality of a party and people are drinking and having fun, right? That neutral tonality is going to be a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more in your face, and a little bit more friendly. The neutrality is the average. So the average of any given social environmental situation. So look at the people around you and then really gauge to what is the medium of that social situation. And this takes a little bit more of an observational skill. You have to look around your environment. You have to gauge where the medium is as far as social excitement versus in excitement, right? What is the general tonality, voice that people are using? What are the words people are generally using, right? What's the body language people are generally in? So that being said, make sure you gauge what your social environment is telling you, and then you can see what your neutral tonality is supposed to be bringing in that specific social environment. Body language, everybody wants to know about body language, so let's talk about body language. It is one of the most easiest to do because essentially it's the most obvious one. Simply, if somebody is, let's say, leaning up against the wall, you can easily observe that and lean up against the wall. Just make sure you don't do it too much, because when you keep matching and if they keep shifting and moving and you match every single time, then it becomes a very awkward situation. It's not a Simon Says game. Make sure you don't do that. General rule, wait 5 to 10 seconds before you go ahead and match their body language so it looks natural and it's seamless. Breath is an interesting one because usually we have a very neutral breath, right? And it has to do with how much you're talking, right? Maybe you're really excited and then so you have to catch your breath, and maybe you're super calm and you just breathe very easily. And so it's not so much paying attention too much to how they're breathing, but really how they're pacing themselves. You having that same pace is going to make them feel like you're on the same level, the same vibe as them. And that way you can build a lot of rapport just based on matching their pace alone. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, I can't always match the pitch or volume or even the words that they say. But in reality, it doesn't have to be that you're putting it in your natural conversation. What I like to do often, if it doesn't match my character or my personality, I like to do a little bit of a tease, kind of being playful with the other person. And inevitably, if they have a sense of humor, they'll either react, right, laughing, or they pity you and they laugh anyway. So at least you get one of those things. But it's great because you do get to match their tonality, their words, their pitch, their volume without being unnatural to you, because the whole point of this is you have to make sure you're genuine. So here's a good example. I tend to get very excited when I really talk about something specific or something just excites me. And when I'm talking to a person who has a more of a neutral personality, right? They don't tend to get excited. They tend to just like to sit and observe. Sometimes in order to build rapport with me, they'll do things like, oh, okay, Tina, yes, I get it. Oh my gosh, yes. Then after they do that whole matching thing, they say something like, oh, I don't know how you do it, Tina. It's so exhausting to me. And in that way, they're being true to themselves. But with that playful way of matching and mirroring me, I feel more connected to the person, because in my mind, subconsciously, I'm thinking, wow, they're really paying attention to me. They're really paying attention to who I am, what I'm about, right? And they also are, being playful and being respectful about who I am. That just builds rapport with me. In that specific scenario, it's a great way to pull out the playfulness, pull out the flirtation. And of course, this works in a dating environment. So another flip side to this is to point out observation. So when you can't match and mirror because it seems so disingenuous and not something that you would do, I like to do observational conversations, which is something like this. So let's say I am more of an exciting person, I'm more playful, right? I'm more out there, and I'm sitting across somebody I'm just meeting, and they're just so new, very Spock-like, right? Then I might say something like, wow, actually, I'm curious, what is it like just being in your head and being so calm and thinking about these things, right? You clearly are more of an observant person who's almost in their minds. Am I right? And of course, even when I do that, naturally my tonality goes down because I'm naturally trying to match them. That's crazy. I was doing it without even knowing. But it gives them an opportunity to speak and to teach, essentially, right? Especially when it comes to dating. Just quick tip on the side for the ladies, men love to teach. So if you ever give them an opportunity to teach you something, like, you are in. I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there really fast. But even if you're not, in general, people do like to feel like they are the experts, right? They have something to give you. It makes them actually feel really good, especially when it comes to something that they're good at, right? So that's another way to build rapport and get somebody to like you, because essentially you're making them feel special. If you can find that moment of rapport building, that moment of connection because you have something in common, that is how you can build a relationship. And even if you're in an environment in which you have to socially survive, whether it be you have to go to your partner's party and you don't know anybody there, right? Or you have to go to a networking event and you really don't know anybody there, your number one key is to be able to find that one thing that you can relate to, that you have in common. And matching and mirroring is just one of those things that you can do on a subconscious level to make others feel like, wow, I feel like I have something in common with this person, even though we haven't actually hit on anything, that we have something in common. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that like button, and I will see you soon.